Hello, it's Peter from Zzipp Media here. Today I'm bringing you something a little special. I'm bringing you an interview with Peter Rowe and Megan Simpson from Jawbone Collective. So, Peter, tell us more about Jawbone Collective.
The Jawbone Collective grew out of an idea between myself and another poet, Tom Rogers, based in Bridport in 2019. And we started a fringe show, which we took to a number of fringes. And we published a couple of books, one each, poetry books, to go with that fringe show. And they were so well received, and we thought, oh, we should publish more poets. But then COVID came along and it sort of shelved a little while. But we also had the idea at the time of doing a journal called the Jawbone Journal. And so it was after COVID. About 3 years ago, we started publishing other poets. And this year in July, we launched the Jawbone Journal, which is a Southwest-based literary mag.
Right, and you and Megan were instrumental, I think, or was it Megan, with the poetry route in Weymouth?
Yeah, it's Megan. It's Australian, rhymed with vegan.
Right, okay.
So, Megan has been the lead on our bid to work with Weymouth and Portland towns of culture, and we did some workshops and a couple of open mic events in Weymouth, and a poetry trail, which has been taking over our life recently, hasn't it, Megan?
Yeah, it's so Peter's alluding to this really inclusive, sort of beautiful offering to the community in Weymouth. So we've just with other people, we've got a lot of poets on the ground that we know well in Weymouth as well, because we are based in Bridport ourselves, but our community reaches through from our poetry community reaches from Poole through to Bridport in a way. We have a cluster of people, and we have lovely poetry community members, a lady called Naomi Wilcox-Lee, who's been supporting us in rolling out workshops. And this poetry trail fundamentally has got, at least 20 poets from the area sharing their work. So it's been just such a beautiful thing to really interact with more of the community of Weymouth and Portland. We're getting to know sort of beautiful creatives based in Portland as well, which has been lovely. And so it's just been really, it's transformed the way I see the communities of that area as well, and how I see it now through their eyes, really, which has been lovely.
So is there any way you can kind of keep track of the amount of people who scan the QR codes down there in the seafront?
Yeah, it's a good question. There is. We've just sort of got a system where we individually have put every poem in the system, and it holds the audio and holds the images of the system, and then the QR code gets scanned. So we have been able to do that, and also due to that, last week we even have moved some poems because we sort of feel like it's not in the best of spots, and then we're just doing our best to let the community know that these QR codes are on signs, the Ominverse signs around the towns. And so at the moment it ranges from a few scans to 40 odd scans to certain poems. We're lucky the North Fort have sort of put a really large sign up. So that sign and the explanation of the trail gets a lot of attraction as well. So I think the more that people can find it, or we let them know that please take the trail, it's wonderful being out in, by the water and listening to a poem written about someone's experience of the foreshore of Weymouth, or the Portland Chisel Cove beach poems are great to listen to while you're on Chisel Beach. So it's really quite a lovely immersive experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I should mention the QR codes are entirely confidential. All we have an idea of is the numbers of people that are going to a location. So it also helps us identify whether a sign is not working, or or a location is not working. And we've had no problems generally with signs disappearing, which we were worried about. You might find that things disappeared, but yeah, it's been pretty good so far.
Okay, I do a photo walk at Dry Dock Bar in town on a Friday, and I took the group down to have a look at some of the scans, and they seemed very impressed by the way it was going. It was a bit windy, but we did hear a lot of the poems. So what I'm going to do is next Friday we're going to go further down past the town clock and listen to some up there. What I've told them they can do is actually take pictures reflecting what they see.
Mm.
So what they hear and what they see. So that's an interesting way to look at what you've done.
Well, it's interesting. There's a thing called ekphrastic poetry, which is poetry written about works of art. And it's interesting now that then you've got photographs inspired by poetry, which is also ekphrastic, but in another way around.
Right. So
Art
yeah,
feeding on art. I like it.
yes, yeah. I don't know whether you saw it, but I recently did a performance at the Dry Dock of one of my poems.
I
No,
did. Oh.
so it'll be on your face. Is it on your YouTube, Peter? Yeah. Okay, I'll have a
It will
look.
be on my Facebook, I think. Yeah.
Facebook. Okay.
A friend of mine called Lee recorded it, and it's about a mad pirate, which I thought was appropriate for the pirate festival that was going on in Weymouth recently.
That's right. Yeah, it was all
Yeah,
weekend.
I personally have been writing poetry since I was a kid, and short stories, um, and it is a great release,
Mm.
whether it's funny or sad or um, it helps you through a problem.
Yeah. I also started writing poetry as a kid. I actually quite vividly remember writing some of my first poetry, which was haikus, and I wrote one about the steel pylons that were marching across the landscape. Because I used to live in a town called Chapel on the Frith, and I went to school there, and I wrote about haikus. The haikus. That was when I first came across it. So.
Isn't that remarkable?
What's remarkable?
I used to live there too.
What, in Chapel on the Frith?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Really?
I lived.
What school did you go to?
Long Lane Secondary Modern.
Oh, that's where I went.
Yeah.
Is that serious? When did you leave there then?
Wow, I'm 68 now.
Oh, you were
So
above me.
it
Yeah.
was quite a time ago. Mr. Um, Northall was the headmaster.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm 63. So,
Right. Yeah.
oh my goodness.
I lived in a place called Chinley. I lived in a place called Buxton.
I was born and bred in Buxton.
Right. I've always lived in that area. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I lived near Chapel Milton, not far from Chinley.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Going a little off topic, but it doesn't matter. You know a place called the Crown and Mitre?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to go conquering near the Crown and Mitre. There was a great conker tree there.
And Paisley's Garage.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Anyway, I've written poetry and short stories for a very, very long time. I did them when I was at school. So
Wow.
it's extraordinary how it follows you through your life, isn't it? I
Yeah.
spent, spent 17 years working at Wilko, the store in Weymouth, at nights, and I would be stacking shelves, and a piece of poetry would drop into my head. I don't know where it came from, but I had to write it down. There was a force there.
Yeah, that's often the way it comes, though, isn't it? It comes in the middle of the night, and I have to get up and go and write, or first thing in the morning, get up and go and write. And it's something that I probably ignored for many years, but I lived overseas for a while, and then when I came to live in Dorset, I lived in Weymouth in White Regis for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years before moving to Bridport. And yeah, and then the poetry sort of took over my life for various reasons. And yeah, I mean, I run a poetry event in Dorchester, or we do, the Jawbone Collective, and that's at the appropriately named The Poet Laureate. I think you've been up once, haven't you, Peter? Yeah. So
Some time ago, yeah.
that's right, yeah. But that's a free event that we do, and yeah, we encourage poets and writers, storytellers to come along and share with us. And we're there every month, so all the details you can find on our website.
I've done open mic nights and things with what I've done. So, Megan, do you write at all? I guess you do.
I do. I let life sort of get away with me and don't put enough time into my own practice. However, I love story. I love probably more autobiographical storytelling. A bit like The Moth or something like that, where people are just sharing things that happen to them. So I run a women's evening in Bridport called The Loom, where we women share stories and events from their lives on that level. And but also I adore the poetry evenings, and I enjoy running workshops. I'm mainly the producer of most things we do, so everything that happens behind the scenes and on the day, I make sure they're running smoothly. I feel like I like doing that as well. I like creating spaces where people have an opportunity to be heard and supported. So my writing practice is pretty slow going at times, but meeting Peter a few years ago really did get the ball rolling for me. I definitely have written poetry. I won a poetry slam last year at the Dorchester Literary Festival.
Okay, so where would be the best place for people to contact you? As I say, I will put a link to the your website under this video when it's available on YouTube. Is that a good place for people to go?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If people want to find out where we're at, it's www.jawbonecollective.com. Oh, sorry.
Just start again, Pete.
I just need to start again. Okay.
All right, okay.
If you need to contact us, then it's www.jawbonecollective.org.uk. And you can find all the details about how to enter into the Jawbone Journal. This is the edition that came out in July. And we've published 57 Southwest creatives in that. The second issue is out in December, so we're currently accepting submissions. Given the events that occurred over the weekend with the Freedom Flotilla, we're offering anybody who wants to send a poem about the current situation in Gaza or the Freedom Flotilla, they want to send a poem in, then they get a free submission. And Jawbone Journal was our 19th publication, so you can see this is 20 separate publications we've done since 2019, and the next journal will be 21. So our
So tell
21st.
people about your publishing possibilities.
Well, the publishing that we do, I mean, the Jawbone Journal is open to anyone who wants to submit on our theme, and that was tied mainly to the Southwest for the first issue. It's open to anybody in the world for the second issue. The publishing that we do tend to publish Southwest poets. So, for instance, Molly Dunn. She was our most recent publication, and that was she was the Bard of Dorchester last year, and then we have a whole series of other books of individual poets from across the Southwest, which go back over the last 3 years, some of which we've sold out of. They're individual collections related to an individual poet. So, and we usually find these poets by going to open mic events across the Southwest. So Megan and I do a lot of miles going to events. We go down as far as Plymouth, up as far as Bristol and Frome, and across to Southampton. And if we see someone who we think is particularly good, we say, that's one to keep an eye on, and we may at some stage approach them with the idea of publishing them. So,
That sounds good.
yeah.
So, what's the next project? Any idea?
The next project for me is I'm going to be knee deep in the Jawbone Journal, which is editing and sorting that out, ready for publication. But there is something else that we're working on, but I don't know if we're ready to talk about that one at the moment, are we, Megan?
No, I think it's a good time to say we do have aspirations of really building support groups around publication, around people's own desires to grow as a poet, be it that they facilitate. We know of some really wonderful younger people that come back from university, and one of them, particularly that I'm referring to in a way, lives in Weymouth, grew up in Weymouth, and would really like to build her own substantial offering to the community around poetry, be it in facilitation or open mic. So we really want to, harness all this desire to really contribute to the community. So we're trying to work out a way of presenting that as a project in a way. But so that's the sort of intent we hold, to really help these people of any age, really, but definitely younger people that come and return to their towns and really to stay there, but do need support in around growing their own business around being a poet or a facilitator.
Sure.
Well, one of the things that we've noticed when we have published people is there is an increased self-confidence, and the people that we publish then go on to do other things, whether it's workshops, open mics, or even putting themselves forward for headline spots and things like that. People are going on and doing other things after we've published them. And when we publish them, they become a member of the Jawbone Collective. We're all about just uplifting people and moving forward. In a way, it's me giving back. I think it's probably true to say that poetry saved my life, and so this is me giving back, I guess. It's a passion project.
I think during the 1990s, the early 1990s, I was part of a theatre company at the Pavilion, composed totally of unemployed people. And they in themselves had no hope. But we were given the task of writing a show in 3 months. And we had to buy the props, build the props, buy the costumes on a zero budget. And we did it. And we surprised all the professional people at the Pavilion. and we did it 2 other times after that. So it wasn't a fluke. So I think writing and being given the chance to prove something with your writing is a great thing to do.
Right.
I think if you're just given the possibility, people could say you can't do it or it's not possible. I think the thing to do is just do it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way I feel sometimes. Is this makes this, but I'm going to do it again anyway, because what's the alternative? It's stay at home and become, I don't know.
Well, I think it's you have to prove a point.
Mm.
You know, being northern lads, and we have to prove a point.
Yeah, I think it's the way we were brought up.
Yeah,
So.
I think it. You know, it's been. Yeah. Anyway, so if people want to find out more about you again, the jawbonecollective.org.uk. I have the website right here.
Fantastic.
And they can contact you, find anything else about you right there.
That's right. And they'll find all the information about the Jawbone Journal there as well. So.
Right. Okay. So, Peter and Megan, I'd like to thank you for doing this temperamental interview with me. But we got it done.
Technology at its finest.
I know, it's annoying. All right, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome. Thank you.